How now? To that man right there we just sang about a while ago, and his son Jesus. Now, as I grew up, I'm preaching, I'm about through. About through. As I grew up, it didn't take me long to realize I had to have a Savior. I could not be good enough. I couldn't be good enough. I tried to be good, but I'd do this and I'd do that, and I would think this, and I knew I was sinning. I knew I was breaking God's commandments. You know what? I had to have somebody to help me. I had to have a Savior, and I got him. It was Jesus. I gave my life to Jesus. I admitted that I was a sinner. I asked God to forgive me for my sins. I asked Jesus to come into my heart. You know, and I told him I'd try to live for him. And I've tried to live through him through coaching. You know, because just like I'm speaking to y'all, I talk to my team the same way now. You know, I don't believe in that church and state separation thing. That's the biggest lie told to the American people. Oh, sure, we don't want the state to get into the churches. No, we don't want the state telling you what to believe or me. No, we don't want that. But to keep the church out of our government, you know? Okay, last story. That's it. Last story. Last story. When Reagan was governor here, Governor Reagan, he decided to run for the president of the United States. And so in his campaign, he went to Washington. He called together all the great religious leaders of America. I think Billy Graham was there. I think probably Jerry Falwell. I think Martin Luther King was there. And the religious people in the nation. Mark might have been killed by them. But anyway, he just got a whole room like this full of the religious leaders all over the country. And what he's going to do is, of course, try to get them to vote, get his congregation to vote for him, and get all those religious votes, you know. Well, there's a pastor sitting right down there on the front row. His name was James Kennedy. I don't know if you remember James Kennedy or not. I spoke in his church. He was down in Cape Coral, Florida. He died about 10 years ago. Great preacher. I loved to hear him preach. Anyway, he was sitting right down there. So old Governor Reagan's sitting up here letting them ask him questions. And Dr. Kennedy stands up and said, Governor, I'd like to ask you a question. He said, if you were standing before God today, before the pearly gates, and God said to you, why do you think you deserve to go to heaven? What would you tell him? Said old Reagan kind of shuffled around a little bit, scratched his head, you know, thought a bit. He said, I'd tell him this. I'd say, God, I don't deserve to go to heaven. Just like all y'all, just like me. We don't deserve it. I don't deserve it, he said. However, God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but would have everlasting life. Now listen here. I might not ever see y'all again. Don't you forget what I just told you. I done given you the answer of the final exam. The Bible says we're going to all die, and then we're going to stand before judgment. Don't forget that answer I just gave you. That one will get you in, I promise you that.